Welcome back to another video. Today might be the last video of this video series, which is a little bit disappointing because I do actually enjoy presenting my information in this way, but then at the same time I do have to focus on what's important. And I believe that even though I'm talking about this in video, in some ways the written part is just as important as the video parts, and that's what I need to focus on now. Not only that, I believe that I don't need to do these anymore because I've completed my final live stream, and I've done one for the before and afters of each live stream, which sort of supplements the live streams then and the written parts with a video essay in some ways, talking about what I've been doing in the live streams and all the different things that I can be doing in future. So today I'm going to be talking about what I did in my final live stream, and as well what my future, what the plans are for the future. So to start off with, it was a really good success on Thursday. Today is the Saturday, so it's been a few days, but yeah, it was a really good success on Thursday. Having those three very contrasting acts and performances, it worked, to be honest. I do have a few opinions on what went on behind the scenes, but with regards to the actual live stream itself, it worked. So to start off with, the cameras, like I said in the previous one, I have been speaking to Craig and the slider doesn't seem to be working anymore, which is a bit of a shame, which it would have been a very cool thing to have that, but at the same time we needed more cameras on the ground to do more other things, so we decided to use that slider camera then just for the face and for it to have a bit of parallax. And that was Craig's idea actually. Craig was actually there helping out with the cameras. I also had my father there helping out with the sound and just to relay some information and to do the odd jobs when it needs to. So I had my father and Craig help out. So with regards to the camera setup, I had one camera establishing, one camera which Craig was purely operating. Now Craig's a brilliant camera operator. He can get some really sweet, nice shots, get right in close to the action, yet still stay out of scene, which is brilliant because that's exactly what the ideal cameraman should do. And he was getting brilliant shots. I also had another camera over towards the side, and that dealt with quite a lot of just the when, like with the band, that when the lead guitarist was playing, the camera on the side there as well dealt with quite a lot of the mid head shots, so you saw the body and the head. And I said then with the slider camera, because it wasn't working, I got a bit of parallax with that, and it was typically just focused on the head, and it was nice. You could see the books in the background as well when that camera was showing. It was brilliant. With regards to the lighting, I decided to be a bit more edgy with this one now. Like I said with the last time, I've lit the face up quite bright, and it worked quite well that way. This time, however, I decided, do you know what would it look like if it was a bit darker? And I let the backlights work. I managed to get DMX lighting by this time. I got DMX lighting bars, which was brilliant because that added so much effect into the scene, and we were able to use that for our advantage, and we'd be able to get a bit of sheen or something. And in order to get that sheen, we just needed to turn down these lights. And the first act, because he was a bit more moody, we felt, right, wouldn't it be good if we could just turn down the lights for that? And what we ended up doing was just turning down, say now, this light, and then we were able to get a nice stark contrast on his face when he was singing. He'd be singing about dark stuff. I did not agree with the things that he was singing about. More about that later, but it worked. It worked. And then when it came to the Congo act, we were able to just turn up the lights just slightly to get a bit less of a contrast, a bit more softer lighting on both sides. But then at the same time, it was still a bit darker. But then when the band came on, we stuck all the lights up so that we could light them, because there's so many people there, we needed to light everyone up correctly. And we stuck the room lights on as well for that, so that we can get everyone in. And we actually stuck some smoke on. We got a smoke machine. It was brilliant. That's what I wanted. With regards to the sound, however, quite a lot of juggling around. I was mostly focused on sound with this time. I was focused on the sound and the camera switching rather than any of the camera work. I was directing people, so I was like shouting to Craig, could you move that over there, or shouting to my father when he was around, could you move that camera into the right position. So that's with regards to the camera work, but when it comes to the sound, a lot more. There was a lot more happening on this day. So what I decided to do was, so we focused on it on different sections. So the first section was Mr. Bewley. He was inspired by what's his name now? David Bowie. Very, very David Bowie feel to his act. So his thing wasn't as bad. There was only 5 mics to look after, or 5 inputs. So I got his vocal mic, his acoustic mic, and his acoustic DI, and along with 2 room mics, which you just leave up just in case something happens. Then when it comes to the Congo act, I also added an extra mic in, which was to do with the congos. I used an i5 for that, like I said for the last time. I wouldn't have minded of using a large diaphragm condenser, but from looking online, I think quite a lot of them used dynamics, which worked well for this, to be honest. And then the band, that was a whole bunch of different... I want to talk more about the actual people after I talk about the nitty-gritty stuff. But with the band, like I said, 6 mic inputs for the drums, 1 DI for the bass, 2 on the guitars, 2 SM57s on the guitars, and then 1 vocal mic, and then the room mic. So there's quite a lot of mics to look after. But yeah, we did not get a proper sound check. I was quite frustrated by this. The band were late, very, very late. I mean, like, close to the... I'm going to talk about that more. The only problems I found with the sound was that the solo guitar, one of the rhythmic guitars was eating up the solo guitar, as in terms of the mixing, so I didn't get much time to mix it, you see, like sound check, so I couldn't do much when it comes to the situation, but to be honest, it wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, so I'll talk more about that later. But when it comes to the social media and marketing, I tried to market that as much as I could, but because there were so many up and down between the artists, I just said, you know, I'm just going to give the social media just a little bit of a break, just in case something doesn't happen, and then I've fooled people's expectations thinking that they're going to see one thing, then actually no, it's something else on, which would be quite annoying as a viewer if you marketed one thing and then you get something else. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to market this just yet, just in case somebody does pull out. And only on the last day I was able to market something, so I was able to put up a picture, just prepping people. But because of the amount of people that were there, each of them shared, which is great. I had the one acoustic act, the two congo duo, and then you had 5 people in the band as well. So that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you also had me, Craig, and my father. 11. I can't do maths. So I had quite a lot of social media presence on that day. I didn't get as many views as I wanted. I didn't get as many views as I did for Melody or Mal. But that's fine. This is my final one. This is more about a showcase of what I'm capable of, not how many people I can reach. It should never really be about that, to be honest. It's about the creative intent and the ideas behind it rather than how many people you can reach with an idea. So those are the 4 main sections I focus on. Now to talk about the nitty-gritty about the acts and the behind the scenes, which really grilled me. Now, basically, first of all, the largest one, the band was late. The bassist came first. He came nice on time. He was just waiting around though. He didn't have his instruments. One of the other band members had his instruments, so we couldn't check that. And then the rest of the band came other than the solo guitarist, which was a bit annoying because we already went over the setup time for the band. They were already over time. They should have sound checked by then. We were already in to like 1 o'clock at this point by the time the whole band came, which is really annoying because we couldn't get as much sound check up as we wanted to. But other than that, the band was okay. It was kind of hard to get them to... I had to be a bit more assertive with them. I had to be, instead of asking, can the drummer please play the drums, I had to just shout, drummer! On the drums. And even though I sounded like a big willy, to be honest, that's what I needed at that moment. And to be honest, I know lots of sound men get really bad flack for what they do, but I understand from doing this now why they seem to be quite rude in some ways. But actually no, it's just that because you've got so many people that you have to deal with, you need to be assertive in your ways. And even though you do come across as being quite aggressive or angry, I tried my best not to come across as angry, and thankfully I didn't. But you just have to be assertive and say, I need you to do this right now. Not, oh no, it's fine, do it in your own time. Which is a great lesson to bring away from this, because that's one thing I struggle with, is trying to get people to do what I need them to do, especially within a professional environment such as this. Especially if you've got somebody coming into the studio with marijuana, say, which happens. It's happened. I tell them get out. Just tell them just get out. Do the marijuana anywhere else but in the studio, because the studio space is not for marijuana. Same as this. Just need to tell them you need to do this job. You got to do them now. Do it. So yeah. When it comes to the Congo group though, they were an absolute pleasure to have, because they knew exactly what they needed to do. They've been doing this for so long, and they were the nicest ones out of them all, to be honest. And to be honest, they were the better of them all. I enjoyed the band. I enjoyed the Congo group as well. But to be honest, the Congo group, by far, I would have much enjoyed listening to them as just a group like that on their own than as a whole setting like this. And to be honest, I much preferred to actually have them on before this thing, to be honest. But, that's how things go. So the Congo group were absolutely brilliant. I loved them. When it comes to Mr. Bewley, however, now, there were a few opinions that I've heard. He was a nice guy. He's a little bit pretentious, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. He's probably a nice guy. Maybe this is just a stage act that he's putting on. But I should have checked out before. I should have actually checked who he was. before this performance. Now, this isn't anything against him as a person, and this isn't anything personal as well. It's just that his act was a little bit too political in some ways, and in other ways it was quite offensive for what I do. Now, it depends on who you are. I understand I've got Christian beliefs. I've tried not to bring that into this project. Other than getting Christian artists, I try not to bring any of that within this project, and especially within the way that it is conducted. But what he sung about was a little bit offensive to me, but that's fine. Even though I was offended, we live in a free world. Everyone's got their own opinions, and if we didn't live in this world, I wouldn't be able to practice my own beliefs. And if he wants to practice his own beliefs, that's absolutely fine. It came across as a bit odd and weird in some ways, and I had a few comments saying, who is this guy? There's no real nice way of putting it, but I just thought it was a bit weird. And I had a lot of other people commenting saying that he was a bit weird as well. And I should have met up with him before, but because of the time span that I had, and as well he came from Cardiff as well. He's just graduated at Nottingham University, I think. He's probably a very nice guy behind the scenes though, but from what I could only see of him in this was he was a little bit pretentious, a little bit like, well, I read a book, I do this, very artsy, within the artsy world. I've got no malice or anything bad about him as a person. It's just that the act wasn't what I wanted, to be honest. But other than that, it was great. It was a live performance. He actually was able to portray a character which you'd never want to see on TV. Something different. One of his songs was Sometimes God Takes Away Mummies and Puppies, which is very creepy, but I think it was kind of different and a bit edgy, which, to be honest, I'm quite edgy as a person, and I quite like the way that he comes across as that. It was very David Bowie, I do say that, but other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, even if it was offensive. You know, Craig enjoyed it. So, yeah. So, with regards to the actual acts themselves, it was good. Now, to talk about my future and where I'm going next with this project. So, if today is Saturday, it's the 27th. My hand-in date is on I think it's the 1st and the 3rd of May, which is going to be on Wednesday and Friday. I think one of them's to do with the physical hand-in of the live streams, and then the other one then is to do with these video blogs. I think the video blogs come last. So what I aim to do is to get a 90-second show reel, where I can actually show either 90-second or of some sorts around that region, so I can actually show TV companies as like a show reel of what I'm capable of. But also then I want to actually release a DVD with about 1 hour 30 minutes worth of content on it, with all the live streams, the best snippets of the live streams, hopefully. And with that then, that would be my final hand-in. I'll also feature some content, like maybe behind the scenes content as well on the DVD, just a bit more, just to round it off a bit. And some of the tests even showing, like, I went from 0 to this, and so it'd be great if I could actually incorporate that into the DVD as well. And then maybe in future then this could become a thing. Either freelance, if I submit this to a TV company, I could actually get a job within a TV company, such as Tinopolis or Avanti. I've said that before. I'm also learning Welsh, as I've said in a previous blog. My Welsh is getting on quite well, so I'm able to get into these jobs with my Welsh, with the skill now that I've learned. And with that then, it'd be hopefully a future job opportunity just from this one small project. Even though I've only been doing this for maybe about 3 months, it's been about a whole academic year that I've been working on this, and I can then use that then saying, look, this is all the research time that I've done, and then this is the actual time then that I've actually done this project, which is great then, because it sort of shows then my progression, my willingness to learn, and how far I'm willing to take an idea and present it. I could definitely do the round reading room stuff much better if I had a bigger team, but this was all about personal development and how much I can learn outside of the scope of sound. This is within camera even, so this is within like broadcast, filming, TV, even radio. Now this is coming into the realms of live production, live sound, live recording even. This also relates back to studio work, where I'm actually working with people and networking. I've got so many studio jobs because of this, and that's great because this is exactly what I'm doing this for. Yeah. So only time will tell what the future holds, to be honest. And I pray that everything will work out well, and I'll get good marks. Hopefully, I hope. I'll be aiming for that first mark. Yeah, this has just become more of a personal talk. The more and more I progress within these video blogs, even though they are a bit more structured now, they are personal as well. This is my personal project, and like I said in my first video blog, that this is going to be personal. I talk about my personal things. It's personal, and this is my life. This is my life for this semester. I've also got a music video production project that I'm doing as well, and hopefully then I can do it. I can make it in life. Yeah, and that is the final one. This is the final video of these video blogs. This is probably either number 14, I think. I could be wrong, but yeah, this is it. I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope you've enjoyed this project. As you've been going through it with me, I don't know if I'm getting many views on these videos. I don't care. This is for my university work, so yeah, I hope all is well.